Okay, so we've built our small little domain. We have a domain controller providing a number of services such as DHCP. It provides Active Directory. It's also a file server. We've got a couple of policies applied, and we've also got a client machine that is connected to our domain. So we're moving along to the next phase. The business JT Airlines is requesting some backup. So what we're going to do is implement a Veeam server. It's just going to be a standalone box for now with local repository. It's going to do all the proxy work. So if you're not familiar with Veeam, the proxy server component of Veeam is the workhorse that actually does the backup and moving the data into repository. So all of these Veeam services are going to run on the same server for now. So we're going to do that on a Windows Server 2012 R2. And what I'm going to do before we actually build that server is to create a 2012 R2 template. And the reason being is that we're probably going to prepare a number of 2012 R2 servers over the coming videos, and it will save us a lot of time if we build a basic template with this operating server installed with all the updates installed so that we can reuse it to issue new virtual machines into our environment. So let's quickly get into it and start preparing 2012 R2 template. Okay, so back in our lab environment, we are going to prepare a new virtual machine, and I'm going to use the custom option. Happy with that. We will change that. So we previously just built a Windows 7, client machine. Just going to choose 2012 R2. Not going to provide a key at this stage. We're going to install Data Center. So that will provide us the so we don't want to use core, we want the full GUI version, so I'm going to install Data Center. I've got a Data Center license that I can use. Default users, the local user account and password. As a matter of fact, I'm going to switch this back. I'm going to install the operating system later. I think because I'm building a template and I'm going to use audit mode, I'm pretty sure I need to do it this way from memory. So I'm going to call this Windows Server 2012 R2 template, and I'm going to call it December 2022. I'm happy for it just to be stored here for now. I don't generally leave my template stored on the D drive, for instance. A D drive is one of my NVMe drives. I reserve the D drive more for the operational use of VMware Workstation, where a template's just kind of it's not going to be used on a regular basis, so we'll store this on a hard drive. So let me go next. Just happy with that. I'll go 1 and 2. I'll give it 8 gig of memory. Let's use numlock. Happy with that, but I'll be changing it. Happy with that. Happy with that. A virtual disk. I'll just give it 80 gig. I think I normally give my 2012 R2 servers a little bit more than 2008 R2. 80 gig. Again, we can expand this if we need to. Happy with the disk name. Just quickly come in here. I'll change the network to labbing at Melbourne. Pretty happy with that. So let's go ahead and build this template. So now what we just need to do is mount the ISO. So the reason why I've done it this way basically is that I want to install the operating system from scratch. When doing it the different way, where you provide the ISO at the beginning, VMware Workstation's got some smarts to actually pretty much go ahead and do the full installation for you on your behalf without you really making too many decisions, which is really handy if you just want to spin up a virtual machine, a Windows operating system really quickly. But in this case, I want to use the audit mode so that I can create a template. So doing it manually should allow us to do this quite effectively. So we'll just power up the VM now. It should attempt to boot off the ISO, which it is. We'll just get it up and running. I won't bore you guys with the actual installation procedure. So I'll just change this to Australia, which is where I live, and install now. And I won't worry about a product key. Matter of fact, I might have to worry about a product key. Always thought you could skip this process. Okay, I might grab a key, just bear with me. I'm just going to pause the video while I fetch the key and I'll come back. Okay, I am back. Probably wasn't that long for you guys, which is good. Right, so I've got the key. Sorry, I do have to blur this out just a little bit. These keys are kindly provided by Microsoft for this purpose. Not allowed to distribute these in any way, shape or form, as you would expect from our friends at Microsoft. But the key is in, and now we're at the next section. We want the server GUI. So I wouldn't have been asked that option had we have decided to build this VM in the kind of standard way. I'll accept, custom, and next. Okay, so we're just going to build the OS. I'll just sort of pause the video here again, and I'll come back once this is complete, and we'll get Windows into audit mode. Okay, so the 2012 R2 operating system is now installed, and now we are here ready to, what we normally would is enter a local administrator account and then go ahead and log in and start using our server. But what we're going to do at the moment is reboot into audit mode, and the way we do that is by pressing Control Shift and F3, I think. Let's give it a whirl. There we go. So what audit mode is, basically gives us the ability to sort of prepare the virtual machine or prepare our server for a straight out of the box experience. So what we can do is get our virtual machine prepped with maybe all the Windows updates, with all the software that we might want pre-installed before we make this into a template. And once we've completed that task, we will use what is called the sysprep function and enable the out of the box experience. So here's the sysprep tool that's automatically booted up. So we are in audit mode right now. We're not going to use this at the moment, so I'll just close that out of the way. So if you wanted to prepare a server with all your bits and pieces installed, configured exactly the way that you like it, then you run the sysprep function and use the out of the box experience, and then you have your template, and then each time you build a server from this template, your VM or physical machine, whatever it might be, will be ready to go straight out of the box. So let's get started. And the only reason I'm doing this is mainly because I want to get the Windows updates on straight away. So, and also install VMware tools. Um, so it's already got an IP address on our network. So it's the 10.101. So here we don't need to give the server a name or even a physical IP address or anything like that, unless you don't have DHCP available. I just want to make sure we are on the network and we do have internet access, because we are going to grab the updates. The first thing that I'm going to do though is install VMware tools. So once I've installed VMware tools, then when I run this template or issue a new VM with this template, I'll never have to install VMware tools again. Um, the only thing I might need to do is update VMware tools should I start using a newer version of VMware Workstation. So we'll go ahead and install the tools, which will require a reboot. Now I'm pretty sure 2012 R2 can do all the SHA-2 signatures out of the box, which it looks like it is. We didn't get the same experience with 2008 R2. We had to apply some offline Windows updates first, but that looks like it's gone through beautifully. So we'll just do a quick reboot. So every time we reboot the server now in audit mode, it will keep booting up into audit mode. The only way to stop it is to run the sysprep function. So we'll do that right at the end once we've got all our updates installed. Now, I'm almost certain I'm going to need to update our PowerShell, because I don't think we have access to PS Windows updates, and I don't think we can do an install of PS Windows update with this version. Even if I go remote signed, set this install module PS. No, okay. So what I might do, just give me a second. I'll just go offline again. Pause this video whilst I'll probably need to get the latest version of the Windows management frameworks, as well as a .NET update, and then we'll come back and we'll run this again, and I reckon we'll be okay. So bear with me. I'm just going to pause the video. Won't be a second. Okay, so I was just doing a quick check, and it turns out I already have the software required. So what I want to do, it's actually located on our Mel DC1 in the file server. Just want to see if I can talk to it. Obviously, I'm not a member of the domain, but I'm just going to see if I can admin share. It's asking for a password, so it'll be JT Alliance Administrator. And okay, I don't know if it was admin share or admin shares. Maybe it's that one. Yeah, okay, admin shares. And if I go into Microsoft under utilities, so the Windows management framework requires a .NET upgrade. So I'll just grab that and copy that over here to my desktop, and I'll grab the management framework, and here I have one for 2012 R2, and plug it there. So I can close that out. I'll just close that out for now. Close that. So let's install the .NET. This hopefully won't take too long. A little bit of graphical error there. Not to worry, I'm sure it will sort itself out. I'm happy. Read the license agreements and terms. Kind of didn't, but if you read them once, I don't think you should have to read them again. Just wait for this to install. Maybe I might just put it on a quick pause, just so that I'm not wasting everyone's time watching the green light go through. Nope, it's okay, it's all finished. And we do need a reboot, so let's do a quick reboot. Okay, now we're back. So .NET's done. Now we'll install the framework. Say yes, and I accept. Let's remove that again. Let's give it a few little graphical issues, but that's all right. Not too fussed what it looks like. And another reboot. Okay, let's give PowerShell another go. Let's run it as administrator. You can already see that it's got a slightly newer version. Just set the execution policy remote signed. I'm happy with that. Install module PS Windows Update. Let's see how we go. Yeah, let's install the NuGet. And then we get this. Okay, this is a common issue depending on what version of PowerShell you might be running, but I think we need to enable TLS 1.2. So I'll just quickly go and pursue the command for that. Here we go. System.net.service provider. Sorry, I'm assuming that's what I'm doing here with this option, is to enable TLS 1.2. This actual command could be totally different to what I'm saying. .NET Security Protocol type TLS 1.2. Like me? Could have typed it wrong. Let's see if I can do a copy and paste of this command. Maybe I could paste it into here. Okay, copy, paste, paste, paste it. Yeah, we can. Let's see if that works. Okay. Let's just give this another whirl. I don't know if that is the problem. I suspect it is. Good. Yep. Go ahead and do your thing. And once this is complete, I guess the task here is now just to get these updates installed. So pretty much in the same manner as I have done in the 2008 R2 server, we're going to do the same thing here. I'll quickly just re-show the commands again. I'll also be probably running these updates probably 2 or 3 times through. So the first round usually yields around 100 updates, and then the second and third rounds usually just a few after that. Usually just roll up updates for the most recent patches is all that is left. So this process generally will take about between 1 and 2 hours. So I won't time lapse this one, I'll just let it run in the background, but I'll just wait for this to install. I'll run the command so that you can see what I'm doing. You guys can do that for yourselves if required. It's taking its sweet time. I'll just pause the video just for a moment until this is complete. Okay, not sure what happened. It kind of, I think it worked in the background. It just didn't look like it had finished. So I just ran the command again and it's gone through just fine. So the Windows Update module is installed. So like I've said before, I prefer to do my Windows updates through here. You can do it through the normal means of the Windows Update component through the browser. So git wi install, accepting, I just accept all. There are other commands and switches here where you can probably just have a look and see what's going to be installed when you choose the accept all. There are ways to differentiate the updates if you don't want to install every single update, but this is just what I do out of the out of the box. Install, do an auto reboot, and I use the verbose switch so I can see what's exactly going on. So this in essence should just start looking for updates. It usually takes a while before it finds all the updates and then starts downloading them. So I'll stop the recording here and recommence once these updates have fully completed. So I'll probably end up having to do, like I said, a couple of reboots and a couple of goes of this command to get all the updates. So for me, I'll see you guys in a couple of hours. For you, probably in a few moments. Okay, so Windows updates have fully complete on our 2012 R2 server. VMware Tools is installed, so we can double check here. If you see like a little icon, little yellow circle on your VMware Tools, it just might mean that there's an upgrade available. So as mentioned, if you install a newer version of VMware Workstation but using the same virtual machines, you might see that pop up saying, hey, there's a new version. And you'd come here and click, I think this option would be upgrade VMware Tools, not reinstall. And you just go through the same procedure. It'll boot up an ISO and away you go. So for this VM, it's all done. So all we need to do now is to sysprep it. Actually, what I'll do is I'll delete these 2 files. I don't need those here anymore. And to sysprep our machine. So sysprep again is creating what they call an out-of-the-box experience. So when I rerun the template, so this VM will be converted to a template, and then I'll use the template to create brand new virtual machines, and those new virtual machines will spin up like it's a new Windows installation. You'll provide a new password and new IP addresses, names, and so forth. It gets a new GUID basically, so it is definitely a different virtual machine to this one, despite the fact that we're kind of cloning our VMs. So to do that, so we're still in audit mode. So we go into CD Windows, CD, is it from this folder? No, I think it's CD System 32 and sysprep. So Windows System 32 sysprep, and here we'll see the sysprep file. You might already have it. It pops up every time you reboot your machine in audit mode. So it could have been running in the background. I must have closed it. Yeah, we've got that issue with the graphics again. Don't be worried. Sysprep.exe. Hit enter. Let's see what that does. Is that opened it up in the background? Let's give it a second. Not yeah, look at that. Not sure what the cause of that might be. It's definitely related to my machine, I suppose. I wonder if I just close it and reopen it, that fixes it or not. No, not really. That might be could be a potential graphical issue. 3D graphics. Too sure. Sometimes I do see these odd little issues when running virtual machines, but I'm not too fussed. Doesn't stop me really from doing what I want to do. So I'll just get in back. Whoops, not the drivers. I feel like I'm going to touch the host files. Sysprep and sysprep again. Here we go. So this is my option here. So we are going to out of box experience, generalize, and I want to shut down. So this machine is now being prepped for a template. Do it to every window. Yes, it is. Might look into that. Sure what the cause is. I don't know if it's a 2012 R2 issue. Don't know if I was getting it in 2008. Works fine in 2008. Here's my PC1 that in the background. I'm still doing some updates. Okay, well the template's complete. So it's not quite a template just yet. You could very well use it as a template. You could just leave it as is, but there is a little method in VMware Workstation to make it a template. Now, the first thing you've got to do from memory, I haven't done this for a little while actually, is take a snapshot. So I call this snapshot sysprep, and it's December 2022. Oops. I believe it's nearly Christmas. Take a snapshot. That's pretty much instantaneous. Then go down to settings, go to options, and I believe it's in advanced, and enable template mode. And I tick that box, and we are done. And because our task here is to create a 2012 R2 server with the template and join it to the domain to be our theme server, let's do that now. So the way to do this is to open up. So actually, before we do that, it's going to Here's another little template that I've created a long time ago. I've used this for our impending Exchange server install. I'm just going to remove that. I don't need to see, actually, I won't remove it. I will put it up here in our templates. And I will put this template up here in my templates folder. Now this is just a little bit of organization here. I call this labbing it, and create a new folder here, and this will be called, I'll call this Melbourne. Pretty much anything with a Mel is going to be in our Melbourne data center. So this is not really doing anything other than just organizing my virtual machines, different lab, and there we go. So what I normally do, so if I just close these down, just open them up. So here's our template again. Just close that out. So if it's not appearing up here in our list of virtual machines, let's just make that a little bit smaller. Too small. A little bit bigger. We can come here to our templates folder now. Say, okay, I need to build a 2012 R2 server. You can see I've got an old template. This one I made probably 2 or 3 years ago. So this is going to be probably my new template for 2012 R2 moving forward. And we don't power it on. So the only time you would power this on again is if you wanted to maybe do a bit more patching. So if it's 6 months down the track or 3 months down the track and you want to update your template, you could power this on, do those updates. You'd have to run the virtual machine into audit mode again. So when it comes to that login, sorry, not login, when it comes to asking for the administrator password, that's when you hit the Control Shift F3, and that will reboot the VM into audit mode, and then do your Windows updates again, and you run sysprep again. But we don't need to do that now. So all you do if you want to clone this machine is under Manage, click Clone, and it's going to say from when. So from our snapshot, sysprep December 2022, and go next. And so you've got link clone and full clone. I always go with full clone so that it's its own virtual machine in its own right. A link clone is utilizing this template's virtual machine disk. So it's almost like it is a new virtual machine, but it's like a snapshot of the linked clone. So we'll always have to make sure we have this virtual machine available in its current state in order to use any new virtual machines using this link clone option. So I always go create a full clone, and I'm happy for it to go in this normal location. So this is going to be our Veeam server, and our Veeam server is mel-vbr. It's a Windows Server 2012 R2. It's got an IP address of 192.168.10.11, which we'll sort out shortly. So here, you just plug in mel-vbr and click Finished, and it's going to go away and clone that machine. Depending where you store your template, this is all on the same volume, so the cloning process will actually be quite quick. I believe that might be through the block cloning technology of the REFS file system. So that's all done. And now I don't need to see this anymore, so I'll just close it away. So that template will always be available. I'll just minimize this up a little bit. So I've got mel-vbr down here, so I can just bring that up to Melbourne. I'll edit the settings, make sure I'm happy with the virtual machine. For now, 8 gig, 2 processors is fine. It's got an 80 gig hard drive, so I'm going to change that. I'm going to keep it at 80. So this VBR server is going to be the repository server as well for now. We will expand on this in more detail a bit later. We'll actually expand our Veeam server to using different types of repositories. But for now, it's just going to be a local repository on the same box. So if you remember to some of my earlier videos, all these virtual machines here, whilst they are virtualized, in my lab, these are all considered like physical machines. I know they're virtualized, but they're, for all intents and purposes in this lab, they are considered physical machines. So this Veeam server is a physical server along with all these machines as well. In some videos coming up, we will start building our VMware environment, our virtualized environment. So this being a repository server, I'm going to need some storage for my repository. So I need a new hard disk. Now, in a typical physical server out there in the production environment, you probably have servers with multiple disks, 20, 30, 40 disks, and you build up, you set up your RAID array, and then you present that RAID as a logical volume to the operating system in some way, shape, or form. In this case, I'm just going to create one disk, and we can just pretend. So I'll make it 300 gig. We could pretend it is it's 10 30 gig drives if you want, and we've created a RAID array at the physical layer. So we can't really simulate that too much. We will have the ability to do that a bit later in some other videos with our Nimbles and our HPE VSAs. So that they are storage devices that we're going to use a bit later on. But for now, it's just one disk. 300 gig will be plenty. LVBR, and hit finish. And we'll go okay. And we will power it on. So that's pretty much it. That's the Veeam, the Windows Server 2012 R2 template created. We've installed all the updates, installed VMware tools. We've turned it into, we sysprep the operating system, turned the virtual machine into a template, and then we've cloned it into a brand new 2012 R2 server called Mel VBR, ready for Veeam installation. So that will end this video. Next video will be the Veeam install itself. Thanks for watching.